Hello, and welcome to another skills video for Excel 2019-365. Today we're going to cover how to complete a hands-on exercise for the end of Unit 1. In order to complete this exercise, you will need to download the files that are available at the end of the online classroom. I have created a new folder on my desktop called Excel Unit 1, where I have organized these files. There are 4 files that you will need. One is the instructions file, one is the Excel workbook that you will complete the instructions inside, and there are 2 extra files today that we will use for practice importing files of different file types. You'll see that we have a comma-separated value file and a TXT file. Both are Unit 1 cost sheets. If you haven't yet downloaded these files, please pause the video now and download those files to the folder of your choice. You may begin the video again when you are ready to proceed. The first thing that we will always do is open our instructions file. Open this with a double click. This file will tell you what to do. The next thing we'll do is we'll go back to our File Explorer and we will open up the workbook. This is the Excel file that you will do your work in. If you get a yellow band like this with a content warning, this is the generic warning that Microsoft uses to let you know that you downloaded a file from the internet and there are links in it, and to proceed with caution. In this case, we provided this file for you, so it is safe to use, and you may click the Enable Content button here to get access to all of your tools. At this point, I like to arrange my instructions and my working file to mimic the testing environment. So I'm going to manually use my screen resizing tools to recreate the testing environment. So I will use the minimize button or the restore down button to minimize my screen into a window about the width of the screen, whatever screen I'm working with, and about 2/3 the height of the screen. About like that. And then I will activate my instruction sheet by clicking on the part of it that I can see. And again, using my restore down button to bring this down to a smaller window. And I will arrange that to occupy the full width of the screen. And then I will arrange it so that it only takes up about the bottom 1/3 to 1/4 of the screen. You'll notice when my window gets small enough, my ribbon automatically hides itself. This is good. This means that I will be very efficient with my space. So I will only use as much space as I need. So let me just perfect my screen split here. And now I have essentially a 2/3, 1/3 split. My instructions are on the bottom of the screen. My working window is at the top of the screen, and this is much the way the testing window will look when you take your MO200 test. Once you have your screens set up this way, you can just go to the instructions and scroll down to the first step, which is importing data in workbooks. Step number 1 says to open the Excel file named Unit 1 Workbook, which we've done. And optionally, again, we recommend resizing both of these open files, the workbook and the instructions, to mimic the testing environment. Step number 2, activate the Import Data worksheet. Notice there are 3 tabs along the bottom of this workbook. You want to ensure that the Import Data tab is activated by clicking on it. We will then import the data from the file unit1 costsheet.txt into this worksheet. During the import process, we are instructed to transform the data as follows. Remove the last 2 columns of data, named difference amount and over under budget, and use the replace values tool to replace the typo landscaping with the correct spelling landscaping. And note, this tool is case sensitive. We will want to remove any blank rows and then load this data into cell A1 of this worksheet. You will notice the method that I will show you right now is quite different from the one that the skills videos demonstrated. We feel it's good to have both of these tools in your back pocket. So the first thing we will do is go to the Data tab, and we will go to the Import from text.csv button right here in the Get and Transform Data group. click on this button, and I'm allowed to navigate to the desktop, to my Excel Unit 1 folder, and to find that costsheet.txt file, this one right here. I click on it, and I select Import. Now, during the import process, we are going to transform this data. So let me just resize this window so that we can see our instructions here. We're going to transform the data as follows. We will remove the last two columns of data, the difference amount and the over/under budget. And we will use the Replace Values tool to replace the typo landscaping, you see it twice here, with the correct spelling landscaping. And we will remove any blank rows. So the first thing that I want to do is transform my data. So I click the Transform Data button. And a window will open up that looks like this one. The first thing I'm going to do is, as instructed, I'm going to delete the last two columns. So I'm going to click on the difference amount. I'll hold down my Shift key and click on Over and Under Budget, and I will come to the Manage Columns group and remove those columns. So those two columns are done. We will now use the Replace Values tool to replace the typo landscaping with landscaping. So we will go to the Replace Values button here in the Transform group, and we will find landscaping, and we will replace it with landscaping. And we will say OK. We are still on columns. I will need to, here we go, select my rows before I transform my values there. Oops, don't want to do that. Now I can replace values. Okay, let's just check out what's going on in here. That's fine, and I will say OK. You will now see that landscaping has been replaced by landscaping. I will now want to remove any blank rows. So I will stay on my Home tab here in my Reduce Rows group, and under the Remove Rows button, I will choose Remove Blank Rows. Once I have removed the blank rows, I'm going to load this data to cell A1 of this worksheet. What this means is that I will click the Close and Load button here, and I will use Close and Load to so that I can choose cell A1. I'm going to choose an existing worksheet, and I'm going to click on cell A1. So scroll all the way back up here, click on cell A1, and say OK. So at this point, my data has been loaded into my worksheet as a table. That is step 3. So at this point, you get the idea, essentially. You open up your instructions, you open up your working file, you resize them so that they mimic the test window. Instructions at the bottom, testing window at the top, and then you simply follow the instructions one by one, reading each instruction, completing that instruction in the window above. A really important test-taking skill is hopping back and forth between these windows. So I want to remind you that if you click on your instructions, this becomes your active window. If you want to read an instruction and then complete the instruction up here in this Excel file, it's a different window. Your first click on this in this location simply activates the window, and now you can click to select a cell and do something. So toggling back and forth between these windows is a skill that you want to have under your belt before you begin testing, because you will need to toggle back and forth between those windows quite often. As I said, you will go ahead and follow the instructions all the way through to the bottom. Do the best that you can to follow the instructions as they are written. If you get into a struggle and you just are at a hurdle and you can't get over it, you can do a couple of things. First, you can reach out on the Zoom channels to your peers, ask if anyone has been there before and can give you any insight. You can reach out to an instructor, set up a Zoom call, see if you can share screens and have them help you figure out how to get over this hurdle. Or you can simply go straight to the answer key video and watch an instructor do the video first so that you get the idea, and then you can come back and try it on your own. We recommend taking your best swing at doing the entire exercise before you watch the answer key video, just so that you can really identify which skills are solid and which skills need some more practice. As I mentioned, this particular method of importing data using the data tab and that get and transform data group is different than the curriculum demonstrated, but we really do feel that it's important for you to be exposed to both methods. So do your best, but don't ever hesitate to reach out to a peer or to an instructor to get more information if you are stuck. So good luck. Let us know if you need any help, and hopefully this will be a successful learning exercise for you.